Yo, what's up, guys? It's Kess. Today, we get to see the very first look at the Augmentation Evoker changes coming in the Midnight expansion. Now, again, huge shout out to Blizzard for letting me test this stuff early and to get content out for you guys ahead of the public reveal for everything. This is going to be my first look at Augmentation Evoker, so we're going to do it together, and then I'll do more deep dive videos and stuff later on the spec as the alpha progresses. But again, huge shout out to Blizzard. Appreciate it a lot. Very grateful to be able to do this and to share this with you guys. So let's open up the talent page for the first time, and let's just take a look at everything together. We'll go through every talents, all the changes, stuff like that. And there are a lot. There are a lot. I've got to see some patch notes to kind of read through everything before I do this first look, but I haven't actually seen stuff in game yet, so we're going to do that together. So here we go. If you've watched the Dev Evoker video already, I went over the Evoker side in that, but we'll just do it quickly. Not much changes over here on the Evoker side of things. Pretty much everything is the same. Some very few changes, though, specifically down here. So Leaping Flames is now here, has a different icon, and then Unravel is now a passive spell. So if a mob has any sort of absorb, and your Fire Breath is active on the mob with the absorb, Unravel is going to just be an additional ticking damage on top of your Fire Breath. Nothing you have to press, nothing you have to worry about. Honestly, pretty good change. I like this a lot. One less keybind, less button bloat. Overall healthy for the game, I think. So there's that. That's pretty exciting. Then we'll jump over to the augmentation tree, and I'm going to talk for a while here. Okay? There are a lot of changes. A lot of these changes are catered to making raid sort of easier. Those of you that strongly disliked the prescience gameplay in raid, targeting your Ebon Might and stuff like that, that is gone from the game. That is no longer in the game. Sorry, I'm just pulling up some notes I made from some stuff earlier on my second monitor here. Okay, so to start, Ebon Might. Let's read this tooltip. Increases all damage dealing allies' primary stat by 8% of your own. Increases your own damage by 20%. Okay, so 8%, right? That is already up from 5%, so that's a 3% buff right there. And read the first line over and over and over again. Increases all damage dealing allies' primary stat. So, change. Okay? Ebon Might is applied to all DPS players within 100 yards, regardless of prescience, anything. It goes on the entire raid. It doesn't go on tanks and healers, right? So it's still only damage players, but it goes on the entire raid within 100 yards of you. Okay? Now, let's read the second part. Don't get too excited. It is pretty cool. It definitely makes playing the spec a lot easier in raid. But for those of you that immediately go, oh my god, it's so OP, okay? Ebon Might will split its effect when applied to more than 2 other allies. Okay? So in M+, it's going to be, as you read in the tooltip. In raid, it's going to be reduced in some way. Again, we haven't been able to test that yet, so I'm not sure exactly how it will work. I'll make another video on that when we get our hands on it and get to test it in a large group environment. But again, no more prescience targeting, no more spreadsheet gameplay in raid, none of that stuff. Just pretty much plug and play. Going to be a lot more user-friendly, a lot more beginner-friendly. I'm very excited about this. This will get, hopefully, a lot more people interested in playing the spec in raid, maybe a lot more popularity. Would be pretty good for the spec overall, I think. Okay. Yeah. So we'll start there, and they buffed the healing of Defy Fate by like 100%. So when your cheat death procs, it's just going to do a lot more healing to you, and to your allies, I suppose, as well. So that's kind of a nice little quality of life change right there. All of this stuff is the same. Looks like anyways. Oh, okay. Let's talk about Breath of Eons. So 15% of damage dealt by allies affected by Ebon Might is copied as additional arcane damage to enemies after 10.5 seconds. Damage is reduced if Ebon Might is on more than 2 allies. So in Raid, again, all DPS players will be able to contribute to the Breath of Eons, but it's going to be reduced in the Raid environment because it's going to be on more than 2 players, right? So again, we don't know exactly how this is going to work, but everyone in the raid can contribute to the breath. This might make for some massive breaths in raid, especially in damage amps, which is pretty exciting. And there's also been a visual update for Temporal Wound, as far as I understand, just to make the raid environment even more accessible. It'll be very obvious when Temporal Wound is active on the mob for everyone in the raid to know that, hey, the Evoker has Breath of Eons, and I'm pumping damage into it, sort of thing. But again, another change, similar to Ebon Might. So Ebon Might went from 5 to 8%, right? Temporal Wounds, or sorry, just the Breath of Eons itself is going to accumulate 15% instead of 10% that we have on live. Okay, so again, Ebon Might and Breath of Eons both buffed. We like that. Defy Fate, again, like I said, buffed by like 100%. Wernstone, still the same. Timelessness, still the same. Stretch Time, the same. Perilous Fate and Chronal Ward are also still the same. Now, again, this is sort of a buff to Chronal Ward as well. Well, kind of, but not really. Well, it's probably capped, right? Yeah, 30% of your health, so maybe not. Increases your maximum essence by 6. This is the same. Ignition Rush, Essence Burst reduces the cast time of Eruption by 40%. Now, I actually love where they put this talent. It's up here now, right? It used to be down here, and it used to make getting it, like, pretty awkward. So the fact that they moved it up here is pretty nice. They removed the Rockfall talent. And now Ignition Rush is up here. Pretty sweet. Blistering Scales. I believe they buffed this. Just let me double check. Oh, no, sorry. They buffed the talents associated with it. So, Regenerative. Blistering Scales no longer loses charges and deals 20% more damage. So, this is a nice quality of life talent. Will buff its damage, no longer loses charges. You don't have to worry about. It used to be like you would cast Eruption and it would like refresh the charges and stuff, right? Molten Blood has also been buffed, the Absorb, by 30%. So this potentially is actually a playable talent now, not just a meme. So 2 nice quality of life little buffs here for the Blistering Scales talents. Unyielding Domain and Locus are still the same. The attunements are still the same. There's been no changes there. Momentum Shift still the same. Aspect's Favor. Yeah, also seems to be the same. Arcane Reach, still a 5-yard increase on some of our spells. Nice for raid. So Prescience. Grant an ally the gift of Foresight, increase their critical strike chance by 3% and occasionally copying their damage and healing spells at 15% power for X amount of seconds. Affects the nearest ally within 25 yards, preferring damage dealers with their cooldowns active if you don't have an ally targeted. Right, so that's still all the same. That was it for Prescience. Fate Mirror also remains the same. There's still these healing talents over here that I would like to see changes over here, honestly. These dead talents, in my opinion. This is just never a gameplay style that Og will go down. Reactive Hide, also still the same. Font of Magic, the same. Hoarded Power, the same. Now, Motes of Possibility has changed completely. Eruption has a 35% chance to form a mote of diverted essence near you. Allies who come in contact with the mote gain a random buff for your arsenal. The new talent change is right below. So, Motes of Possibility may now grant prescience to allies and have a 10% increased chance to activate. So, you'll still probably have the original buffs, as far as I know. Like I said, I haven't played it yet. But there's probably still the Shifting Sands, the Symbiotic Bloom, the Infernal's Blessing. And now with Clairvoyance, you can get prescience from motes. So that's kind of nice, I guess. Pretty pog. Infernal's Blessing had a slight change. So Fire Breath grants the Infernal's Blessing for 8.5 seconds to you and a nearby ally, giving their damaging attacks, spells, increase damage and do the fire damage and stuff, right? So it only goes on one person plus yourself, right? So that is different. Yeah, honestly, I'm not sure if this is good or not. This has already kind of been a pretty lackluster talent as Og got nerfed and nerfed and nerfed. Yeah, we'll just have to see how it performs numbers-wise, since it's only you and one other person now. We'll have to see just how the tuning is on that. Molten Embers is the same. Overlord is the same. Time Skip, and then Tomorrow, Today, and Interwoven Threads still remain the same. Imminent Destruction is the same. Plot the Future still gives you Lust. And everything else is the same. Augmentation, we get, unlike Dev, which you guys, if you guys watched the Dev video, we didn't have Apex talents yet, and I wasn't allowed to talk about them. But on the Augmentation side, we have our Apex talents. So Duplicate, anytime you extend Ebon Might, your Duplicate is also extended equal to 50% of the amount you extended Ebon Might by. Okay. Now, what is the Duplicate? Breath of Eons summons a version of you from the future to assist you in battle, lasting 20 seconds. Your Duplicate casts Eruption, Empowered Spells, and Living Flame. While your Duplicate is active, your Ebon Might grants 100% additional stats. So, basically, they took the tier set from Manaforge Omega, reworked it, and put it on steroids. So now every time you Breath of Eons, I'm so excited to try this as Scale Commander, by the way, with like some crazy Eon CDR and then like having good uptime on this. Cast Breath of Eons in M+, your DPS players are contributing to it. Exciting. In Raid, your entire raid is contributing to it. Very exciting. On top of that, we spawn a clone of ourselves who casts Eruption and Empowered spells. So now there's some questions here. Do those Empowered spells apply Shifting Sands to addition that the Duplicate casts? Again, a lot of you maybe are going to assume no, but who knows, right? We have no idea. We'll test that very soon. That could be pretty cool. Does the Upheaval knock up? Again, probably not, but who knows? Could be cool. And then Living Flame. Also, do they mirror my casts? So do they empower when I empower? Or do they have like a set script? Again, we don't know yet. Pretty exciting though. When it's active, your Ebon Might gives 100% additional stats. 20 seconds of 100% additional stats. Like, those Breath of Eon windows are going to be absolutely nuclear. Like, you are... I'm so excited for this. Like, you are going to buff your team crazy in those moments. It's going to be so exciting. Especially in 5-man content. And then anytime you extend Ebon Might, also extend Bone. equal to 50% of the amount you extended Ebon Might for. So anytime you eruption, anytime you empower, right? You're extending your Ebon Might, but you're also extending your duplicate. Which means more uptime on the 100% additional stats and more eruptions and power spells and living flames from your clone. So a lot of damage. Now, also, do the empower spells and the eruptions from your duplicate go into your Ebon Might? Again, probably not. But questions to think about, questions to ask for. Things to get excited about, too. Like, the changes, I think, are great, guys. I'm not going to lie. I think they're great. I honestly think they're great. The quality of life in Raid is amazing. I think the feeling of, hey, I'm a support player, I'm turbo buffing my teammates, is going to feel like that feeling is going to be back again. I'm pretty excited about that. These Breath of Eons windows are going to be so fun. Like when the breath pops, you're just gonna see some silly HP chunks, I think. Yeah, pretty exciting. And the Apex talents, like, these are sick. Honestly, these are sick. I'm a big fan of these. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. But let's jump into the hero talents now. So we'll start with Chrono Warden. Chrono Warden wasn't my favorite in the War Within. It also didn't see nearly as much play, especially in 5-man content, as Scale Commander did. Let's just jump into these. So, Chrono Flame. Living Flame is enhanced with Bronze Magic, repeating 25% of the damage or healing you dealt to the target in the last 5 seconds as Arcane. Okay. Warp. This appears to be the same. Yeah, that's the same. Temporal Burst. Tip the scales, overloads you with temporal energy, increasing your haste, movement speed, and cooldown recovery rate by 30%. It's the same. Chrono Boon. This is a new talent. This kind of takes from the tier set. Tip the scales, cooldown is reduced by 30 seconds. Nice. Upheaval deals 50% additional damage over 8 seconds. For each damage over time effect from Upheaval, gain 3% haste. That's the same. Temporal Burst grants Essence Burst every 6 seconds. Threads of Fate. I believe this is the same. No changes there. They're also the same. Double time Ebon Might Impressions gain a chance. Yeah, okay, this is the same. This is like the... So I'm actually... Dude, what if you're in Breath of Eons? In Breath of Eons, so you have 100% more stat from the duplicate, and your Ebon Might crits. 150% additional stat in your Breath of Eons window? Insane. That's insane. That's actually like nonsense. Casting essence spells extends all your active threads. This is all the same. Overclock. This is a new one. Chrono Flame's maximum damage or healing is increased by 40% up to 1500 arcane. Golden Opportunity, that's also the same. And then After Image and Power spells send up to 3 Chrono Flames to your targets. So pretty much the same. Pretty much the same for Chrono Warden. Nothing too exciting. Just a little bit more damage. Some Tip the Scales CDR, more Threads of Fate, stuff like that. So not bad, but not too exciting, I don't think. The only thing that actually gets me excited about this is, you know, critting your Ebon Might. Like, critting your Ebon Might in your duplicate window, your Breath of Eons window. That could be really fun. But okay, Scale Commander. Mass Eruption, still the same. Might of the Black Dragonflight, the same. Bombardments are still working the same so far. Onslaught still gives you the free living flame. And again, we get our tier set from Manaforge Omega. So this is working in unison with the Apex talents, right? So the Apex talent is going to summon a clone. And we'll show you guys this after we go through this tree quickly. My understanding is it's the duplicate spawns a clone of you. Then also as scale commander, we get the squadron. So there's going to be like a lot of us. There's going to be a lot of us. It's concentrated power. So mass eruption strikes one additional target. This is also from the Maniforge Omega tier set. But it's only one additional target. So that's our mass disintegrate, mass eruption sort of thing. All of this stuff's the same. All the same. I mentioned this. Slipstream, I don't think gives you all your hover charges anymore. I believe it just gives you resets the cooldown on one hover. Again, we'll test that, but I believe that was something they mentioned. But don't quote me on that. We'll have to check it out. Refined Essence. Essence abilities deal 15% more damage, so just personal damage buff. And maneuverability can still drive your car around, and it leaves a dot on them. Pretty good. So, all right, now that we've gone over all the talent points, and we have everything inserted, let's go over sort of like the gameplay rotation and kind of just see the Apex talents in play. Keep in mind that we will be getting more talent points as we level up throughout the expansion and alpha, but for now, this is all we can do. This is the best I could come up with. Showcase the duplicate thing. So yeah, let's take a look at it. We'll just Ebon my, press impressions, and then we're going to do our deep breath. They're going to send pyres out, and then when we land, we're going to summon our duplicate here. And unlike the goons from last season, where they would just disintegrate, this guy, look, he's casting eruptions, and he just fire breathed as well. And now he's upheavaling. Let's actually see. Doesn't look like he's extending. Yeah, it doesn't look like he was extending or anything like that. But I want to see if we can farm this back quickly. I want to see if his shifting sands from the empowered spells that he casts applies to people. But yeah, it's a pretty cool Apex talent. I imagine it's going to do quite a large amount of your damage. And again, the longer you extend Ebon Might, the longer you keep him out as well. So he's going to become your little best friend. We'll send some pyres here. Our commando's pyre. They can pyre up to 8 times. And then let's see. There's our guy here. Pay attention to him, and we'll look over here to see if a shifting gets applied. Doesn't look like a shifting got applied. Okay, so he doesn't extend Ebon Might, and he doesn't apply shifting sands to your friends. At least it doesn't look like it. But yeah, he probably does a lot of damage, and it's cool that he at least casts empowered spells and spells that your kit has. So be interested to see the tuning on that. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it a lot, and I'm so excited for all of this. I hope you guys are too. And let me know what kind of videos you want to see going forward for the alpha. Have a good one, and take care.